Hey, this is Somersault and boy Tano here, the internet's cringiest music nerd. It's time for a review of the Somersault Boys' Come On, Feel the Misery. The Somersault Boy is a Hungarian punk power pop trio which started out as a solo project in 2009 and became a trio in 2012 and released their first LP in 2014, which was called How to Do a Somersault. The band consists of guitarist, lyricist László Salai, Zoltán Horváth as a bass player and Mika Sündholm as a drummer. The project started as a part of the lo-fi bedroom punk in the early 2010s. The first album, How to Do a Somersault, is a little bit shy of 23 minutes and it revolves around the topics of the importance of music, the lyricist's place in the music industry or just music in general. And of course, being as a power pop, love is also a big part of it. Mainly it's being in a relationship that is bad for all parties involved. After the release of How to Do a Somersault, there was a big halt in the music production. Actually, they've been touring with the same songs up until that point. When it came out, they were already quite tired with the music. So when it came out, they already started to work on new stuff. But as you see the timeline here, there's a big gap between 2014 and 2017. There's 3 years, and this really shows in the music itself. Come On, Feel the Misery is a really self-reflective album, and it tries to be a little bit different. It can be described as a little bit more harsh, more punk. The riffs are punchier, they are more cutting to the bone, but also it tries, at least in the topics, go back to the first LP, which is really important because this whole Come On, Feel the Misery can be viewed as a continuity of the last album. Because if we are looking at the topics, Come On, Feel the Misery is not about being in a bad relationship. It's about breaking up and getting out of that relationship, but still longing for that person. And of course the music theme comes back again. This is something that obviously fascinates the people inside the band, the one who wrote the lyrics. If I have to sum up the whole album in just one word, then it would be bittersweet, because as the music is going on, you can feel that the lyrics, the content of it is quite depressing, but the musical side is much more cheery, it's much more optimistic than the content would show. You can see the musical influences, just like the most obvious one is Weezer. It was even mentioned in one of the songs, but I could also see some other influences, like this Californian punk rock scene. Mainly there was one song in the album that was really reminding me of Fiddler. Let's review the songs one by one. The first one is Come On, Feel the Misery. The title of the album came from this song. This is a very typical breakup song. The first metaphor of it is an operation, and we can view it as something, as a metaphor for breakup. An operation which left the person crippled, but still he's under recovery, and it's still a new sensation to have been removed a part of him. And I think it was a really good choice to choose this as the title of the whole album, because you can feel that the content, the lyrical content, is quite depressing, but the whole if you look at the tunes, they are quite happy, cheerful, and it's just nice to hear, but if you really listen to the lyrics, it's more about hatred and this despicable feeling of breakups. The second song is called Grow Up Maggie. It's an obvious reference to the Simpsons family. They even give a thanks on their Bandcamp page to Bart for being cool, so I think it's safe to assume that it's about Maggie and the fact that she is not getting older, but the lyricist feels like that Maggie should really grow up and leave the stars of the wall, and it's just a coming of age song, which is a little bit odd. It's a little bit different content wise than the other songs, but still I think this is one of the strongest points of the whole album, just because I really feel these catchy tunes. The progression in the song is really it's great. The third song is Jazz Records, which is a really passive aggressive, which hits a really passive aggressive tone. You can feel the miserable breakup behind this song that leaves the main character leaving the Jazz Records because he knows that the significant other of his hates Jazz Records, and I think we can all relate to this passive-aggressive feeling. But when the relationship hits that point where you just kind of don't want to be with that other one, and this is the first attempt in the album to sever the ties with this sad girlfriend. The fourth song we hit a little bit of a downer because Every Night is just a slow song where the depression hits the lyricist, and it's just sort of it's just a song about depression after breakup. Meeting My Ex is the second song that I'd say is going to be dominant in the Hungarian music scene, or at least I hope it will be, because it's really a great song. I think they've even played it right after the release of How to Do a Somersault. So this is quite an old song if you are following the band. It's about going forward, but also longing for that old relationship, even though he already has a new one, which obviously just a rebound. He just wants to be in that old relationship, although he states that don't want to be with the ghost, but he wants to be with someone else he knows, even though he's aware that it was not beneficial for any of the parties. He wants to be with this person because he feels like he's connected to her. And this tone is really continuing in Building Our House. This is about reminiscing the old memories of being together with her and the late plans that they had back at the time. It's a retrospective song about that relationship and how it was perfect until it went south. The Acid Party Ate My Soul is a strange song because it's if I'd have to put it in the psychological scale of losing something, it would be on the acceptance, but also this passive-aggressive tone, which will, by the way, continue later on the album, is still here. That you can feel in this song that moment when you're in a party and your significant other or your crush is there, but you also can't speak to her, you can't really get her attention. And then later, when the night progresses, this person just leaves with another person, with a guy or whatever your sexual preference is. The point is that you can feel this misery out of this song, and of course then he tries to get substances or alcohol or whatever he can to dull this pain what he feels after he sees this woman leave. The eighth song is what I was referring to as sort of fiddler influenced. You can feel it on the bass, you can feel it on the first part of the song at least. It's really a fun song. It's really nihilistic. It's about burning out and wanting to be burnt out because he doesn't want to do anything. He just wants to drink, he just wants to smoke and not think about that girlfriend and just be and basically a pensioner, not have any goals, expectations or whatever, because that shit is whack. Ninth song is Nobody Cares About Your Band Anymore. It's also, this is probably the most self-reflective song in the whole album. It's about how long it took for them to record this album. The long process, you can feel that it really took a toll on the band, and I think that even maybe the disbanding came up, but probably they thought that they have something, they started something right after the previous album, so they needed to finish it. And it's Weezer influenced, you can feel it, but on the chord you can feel it on the chord progression that is Weezer influenced, but also it is mentioned, so this is it's mentioned in the lyrics, and it was a conscious decision to go into this direction. They are fan of Weezer, they are singing about it in their songs, and even the music is kind of reflects that. The next song, Roaring Mouse, is more like a mix between the music theme and the love theme. It's basically just a hypothetical date which the lyricist goes to, but also it is connected with the bright it's also connected with the writer's block, that he feels that going on new dates and not being able to produce the lyrics that they want to produce is somewhat parallel. Next song, All Those Boys, is going back to the love topic, back to the misery, back to the breakup. All Those Boys is about letting the girlfriend's hand go and accepting that, okay, she's with someone else. I won't object her in that, but there's really no winner in this breakup, and he wants her to understand that this is not a win or lose situation, this is probably bad for her too. And then the last song, Express Myself. This is again a slow song. It's not happy, definitely not happy. You can feel the longing still in his voice. He even says it, that it's more than longing, it's true love that they left behind. He thinks about how great it would have been, it might have been a real love. He feels that it was a true great love which left him depressed, but also it made him speechless. When he reached the end of the album, he became tired, exhausted, and finish, at least in the lyrics, it finishes with a dark tone that nothing is resolved. Probably the ghosts around him are going to stay there for a while, and there is no redemption. Some things about the album in general. I really enjoyed it from top to bottom. There is some joy in the album which kind of counterbalances the whole depressive lyrics in it. I think this is the best Hungarian music that I've heard in a while. I'm not happy that much with the production. I think they kind of rushed it, but on the other hand, Lassi did a great job with the lyrics. I think he is one of the best and dare I say it, he is the best. After this album, he is the best lyricist right now in the country, the most relevant and most relatable one, at least for me. And probably not just this year, but even last year or the years before, I haven't really felt this much connected to any albums. So this came as a refresher for me in the Hungarian scene, and I really hope that in Hungary they will follow this path, because I think something great has happened with the release of this album. And that is all that I wanted to say about the album. What do you think of it? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Leave your comments below, and the Summer Soul Boy, come on, feel the misery forever.